Hello and welcome to the mobility series. Today I'm going to take you through some foam rolling routines. Okay, so we're going to start off with the legs and work our way up the body into our back. So let's get straight into it. So grabbing your foam roller, we're going to start off rolling our calves out. So just placing the foam roller right down by the Achilles heel, just at the base of the calf there. And we're going to place the left foot over the top, and we're just going to lift the body off the ground and just slowly roll through the back of the calf. So I'm a big fan of going nice and slowly. You're working through that whole muscle and just finding any hot spots. And then going right up to the top of that calf, just below the back of the knee. Okay, avoiding directly behind the kneecap, and then coming back. So working through that whole calf. Okay, so from here, what I want you to start introducing into your foam rolling is a little bit of movement. So when we're rolling, I want you to rotate the foot. You can either go clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay, so pop the left foot over the top of the right, take up the weight, and just start rotating that right foot as you're moving up the calf. So this is just a fantastic technique just to get a bit of movement into the equation. Sometimes if we're just rolling out the muscle, we are getting some benefit, but this, I feel, really gets into the muscle. So just working up, rotating that right foot. And if you find any hot spots, okay, just hang out there a little bit and just compress down, work that area, and then moving up a little bit further, and just getting that whole calf moving, because you've got a few muscles in there, so we really want to try and hit all of those muscles. Coming down a little bit further and just stopping before we get to the back of the behind the knee there. Okay, so we're just going to change the angle a little bit, so just coming a little bit more onto the side of the lower leg. Okay, just working down the side through the peroneals and just rotating that foot. And again, everyone's going to feel this a little bit different. These are just ideas. So if you find a hot spot, an area of real tension, just hang out there. Get a bit of movement going. Change the stance over a little bit. Can be a little bit awkward, the foam rolling. And just working through there. And then coming back. Okay, and change the angle again. So bring it up a little bit. And again, just working and finding those spots. And just running through that whole muscle. So it's really effective foam rolling. Okay, it's a great way just to give yourself, I guess, a self massage. It's good for just promoting blood flow. But interestingly enough, there's not actually a huge amount of research backing up foam rolling and the benefits of. You know, there's some trials that have proven some benefit, but I think it's important to really look at how many people use this technique. A lot of the professional athletes get onto the foam rolling, and you can see for yourself. I mean, at the end of the day, you can add this into your routine and just see how it feels. I know from my training, I've had huge benefit from just spending 10-15 minutes on the mat in the evening, just running through the muscles and just giving them a bit of attention. Coming down, just working through that whole calf. Okay, so we're going to move up the leg now. Going to get into the hamstring. So this is quite a challenging one to get to or feel any kind of pressure, but just try and relax that hamstring as much as possible and just working through the back of that leg. And again, finding any tension spots, any areas that you need to hang out on. And then just changing the orientation a little bit, so rolling a little bit more onto the side. Just getting in and just exploring where you feel your tension. And then we're going to come a little bit onto the side here. So you've got your IT band that runs down the side of your upper thigh here. Okay, there's this whole thought that we need to roll out our IT bands and stretch it, but in theory or in reality it's a really thick bit of fascia. What is more important is the musculature that is actually underneath that IT band. So primarily one of your hamstrings, your biceps femoris, and one of your quads, your lateralis, that runs through here. And I think what is more important is actually improving the interaction of those muscles underneath the IT band. So I really like to get onto the side and just flexing that lower leg as we roll up and down the side of the leg. Okay, and as you will feel, this intensifies the discomfort quite a bit more. So just go at your own pace. Okay, this is a really sensitive part of the body on a lot of people. So just working through. And again, just finding those tension spots. You can even hold it. And just bend the knee. And coming up. We can go down or up a little bit more. Hold it. So we're just promoting movement through here. And just hanging out on any areas, so you don't have to stay in sync with me. If you're finding a spot that needs extra attention, just hang out there and work through that area. Again, you can place your feet kind of wherever that feel most balanced for you. Okay, and then coming all the way up to the top, bending that leg and trying to get some movement through there, coming back down. So roughly speaking, spending a good 2 to 3 minutes on each part of your leg. So that's on your calves, on your hammies, on the side of the legs. So you put together a routine that's kind of 15-20 minutes all together on the lower legs. And coming up. Okay, so we're just going to switch over sides now. Coming on to our left leg. So again, starting at the Achilles heel, right at the base of the calf there. And just applying a bit of pressure, lifting off the ground if that feels comfortable for you. And just start rolling down through that calf, rotating your left foot. And just go hunting for the tension spots. Okay, it's never pleasant. I can't say I'm loving this. pretty sore through there. And it's a good opportunity to see the difference between left and right as well. So all of these practices are around your body and finding the tension spots, the weaknesses, the areas that need to be focused on a bit more. Coming down a little bit further, rotating that foot. Coming down. But if you're a runner, you'll certainly feel some kind of tension in the back of the calves. Okay, reposition the hands. And then working down. And just take your time. Don't rush this. You know, we want to move away from rolling really quickly. It just ends up causing too much discomfort. At least here, when you feel a bit of tension, we can go back to our breathing technique. So breathing in and then breathing out and just working through that tension. Okay. And then just coming onto the side of the calf here, so some really important muscles that run down the side of the lower leg that go into the feet. Can be a little bit tight for people. And again, if you've never been on a foam roller before, all of this is going to be quite intense. So we can even sit down on the mat and just start off nice and slowly and just find those spots. So again, moving that foot and just putting that other leg over just to apply a bit more pressure if you need a bit more. Okay, you might feel better. Bring the hands out in front. And just working through the side of that left lower leg. Okay, and when we're done with that, coming up, let's bring that roller up to back of the hamstrings. So again, it's quite challenging, quite tricky to get a lot of pressure through the back here. There are other techniques that we'll go through in some of the other videos, but for now, let's just roll through right down the middle of that hamstring all the way up towards the glutes. And coming down. Okay, back up. Okay, coming right to the top where that hamstring inserts into the pelvis. So you'll feel it just underneath the sit bone. And then coming down. Okay, let's shift the roller a little bit more onto the side here. So we're just trying to get that IT band and the musculature that sits underneath there. And we're going to come up. And if you can see, just bending that lower leg as we move down. So you might find it easier if you have your foot out there. You might even feel a bit more comfortable coming down onto the forearm here. And just working through. Find this tension spot. Take a few breaths in. and out, in and out. Okay, it can be pretty uncomfortable through the side of the leg here. And again, a lot of this is going to highlight left to right imbalances, which is really important for our training. Coming down. Okay, you don't have to be in sync with me. Just find your tension. Moving that lower leg. Changing the angle. Coming up. Again, just keep that leg, that lower leg moving, bending at the knee. If it's too much, just do little movements. Okay, start off small. And then coming all the way up, right up to the top of that thigh. Okay, good work. So let's get the little bit of work through the adductors now, just through the inside of the leg. So we're going to place, so bending the knee up, foam roller on the inside of that leg, arms out in front, so we're kind of almost doing a plank, and we're just rolling the inside of that leg. So we're kind of bringing that knee up to about 90 degrees to our body, and just working through the inside here. Now this is pretty tender. You know, the adductors, these muscles that run up on the inside of the leg and into our pelvis, are often overworking, trying to stabilise. If we're having a few issues with our glutes, maybe that they're not firing as they should. How the body works, it recruits a whole bunch of other muscles to try and stabilise the pelvis. So primarily things like your hamstrings, your adductors, your quads start taking over the job. So you can find the inside of this leg is pretty tender. So again, we can get some leg movement. Okay, reposition it. Find the tension spot on you. So I don't want you to race through this. I want you just to ease nice and slowly. Apply the appropriate pressure where you're not squirming and it's not causing too much pain, but you're getting that pressure where it feels like it's good pressure, I guess good pain. Body's pretty sensitive to too much pressure, so just work through that. Okay, let's swap sides. So foam roller to the side, left leg on, right leg back. Okay, almost like you're in a plank position. And again, some of these positions are a little bit awkward. So just play around, find how you can do it that's easy for you. And again, working through that inner thigh, rolling all the way up to the top of that inner leg. Reposition it if needed. And again, just seeing where you feel the most tension. So there's different theories around when we should foam roll, different ideas, and I think the best thing is to try a couple of things out for yourself. So some people really like foam rolling before they go out for a run or a cycle. It just frees up the legs, gets them moving, energizes them. Some people enjoy doing it when they get back, just to aid with recovery. And some people just do it a couple of times a week, so 2 or 3 days apart, just to maintain. So find what works for you. Okay, and then coming up, good work. Right, this is the fun bit now. So I'm going to get into the quads. Now, the quads are pretty much, I would say, where a lot of the problems lie on a lot of injuries in the legs. Okay, we spend all this time working on our hamstrings and stretching out our hamstrings and our calves, and very little attention on the quads. So I want you to lay the quad, the front of the thigh, onto that foam roller, and you can really get into this one and just move that lower leg up and down. Coming down. So yeah, the interaction that the quads have with your pelvis, especially if you spend a lot of time in hip flexion, so sitting in a chair, doing a lot of cycling, yeah, the quads are going to be pretty loaded up. And what I've found through experience is when we've had issues with the hamstrings and the calves, you know, if you do a lot of your primary work around your quads and just create a bit of slack in that front line, then you often find the hamstrings and the calves kind of readjust and often clear up from injury. So working through there nice and slowly, finding the hot spots on you. Getting some good movement through there. Just taking the time to work all the way to the top of that thigh. And then moving back in, maybe going back to a couple of spots that felt sore on you. And again, keep that breath fluid. Breathing in, and on the exhale. Yeah, the main thing is you're not shocking the body doing this and putting it into some trauma. Work with the body. And I guess the reality is if you only do it once a week, it's probably always going to be really sore. If you do it 2-3 times a week or a little bit each day, over time it will actually ease up. Okay, working down, coming down to just above the knee. And then coming down a little bit further. And right down. Okay, we're just going to shift the angle a little bit, so just moving a little bit more onto the side of the leg towards that IT band. let's start bending that knee. So the IT band is actually a really important structure that helps stabilise the knee. And I'd almost go as far as to say we can't stretch it out. You know, it's pretty thick. But what is more important are the muscles that are underneath it and the muscles that lead into it. Primarily one of your hip flexors, your TFL, and your main glute muscle that lead into the IT band, and then one of your quads and one of your hamstrings that sit underneath it. And how they interact on that band is really what we're aiming to work on. And that can just be down to the fact that maybe the glutes aren't firing correctly, or we've got dominant hip flexors, or our quads are just super tight, or our hamstrings aren't working right, or it's so much more than just stretching out a muscle. So coming down. And maybe just revisiting a couple of those tender spots. If you spend the time here working methodically through these areas, we can actually get a real gauge of what's going on. Okay, coming up and swapping sides. Again, just lining up that foam roller onto the front of that thigh. And again, we can have the knee off the ground, or we can have the knee down. We can be in this plank position. Just find what works for you, and let's just get some movement going. So again, just working through nice and methodically. I think your best bet is just doing a bit of this each night. When you're sitting down in front of the TV, just pull your foam roller out, have it sitting there so it can stare at you, saying, please use me. And even if you just focus on the legs one night, then the back the next night, it doesn't have to be a 30, 40, 50 minute routine each time. Little and often. Okay, and then we're just going to shift onto the side of that leg now. So again, just have the elbow down on the ground, have a pillow down there, whatever works for you, and just get that lower leg moving. Down, finding the tension spots on your leg. You might be breezing through this and going, none of this hurts. Maybe see if the pressure you're applying is enough. Or you're sitting here going, this is too painful, so just ease up the pressure. Working up. for one more roll through. Okay, just going at your own pace, you don't have to keep up with me. Just making sure we spend the adequate amount of time on each leg. And these sessions are about learning something that you can take away and add into your routine. Okay, good work. Right, we're just going to finish up with a little bit of work through the upper back. So this is an area of quite a lot of tension. So we're just going to place the foam roller there, line yourself up, just so the roller's around your shoulder blades. I want you to place the hands behind the neck and just soften the shoulders, allow the elbows out to the side. And we're just going to sit here. We're going to be sitting on the ground, okay, and just allow the chest to open. Allow gravity to do all the work. So what we find is this upper back, it's really, very rarely gets into this extension. Whether we're sitting at the work all day, it's hard to keep a tall spine. So much of what we do promotes bad posture. So this is just a great one just to finish off today's session with. Opening up the chest. If you're finding this is easy, you might just need to roll down and just find a spot that's a little bit tight. And just hang out there and just open up the chest. And let's get some of your breathing going. Just allow those legs to relax. Okay, you might be feeling some pins and needles in the arms, so you might just want to bring the elbows up. Often that's just a bit of compression that's going through the chest. And then rejoin, dropping over those, open those shoulders. And just allowing the chest to open. And we can just move down a little bit further down the spine. Again, but just being careful, being aware. We don't want to be putting too much force through here. None of this should feel dodgy or sketchy or painful. If it is, just come out. You can swap the foam roller out for a beach towel if it's just too much on the upper back. And just sit back and lie back on that towel. That might just be enough for you. Okay, a couple more breaths here. Okay, good work. Coming up. Let's pop the foam roller off to the side. Let's finish up today's session as we normally do. Laying flat on our back. Hands open up to the ceiling. Open up the feet. And just take a few moments here to allow the body to adapt. Just a couple of minutes, just focusing on your breathing. Making Making sure we're taking those nice long inhales, directing that breath right down into the belly. Bringing that stomach all the way up, breathing in for 4 to 6 to 8 seconds if you can, holding it at the top. And then breathing out and matching your exhale, slowly breathing out. Let's go again, all the way in, nice and slow, moving away from that upper chest breathing. Getting the diaphragm to drop down into the abdomen. When we diaphragmatically breathe, we're tapping into our parasympathetic system. We're fast tracking our recovery. And we're becoming in tune with our body. So a really important posture, this one. So if you've got 5 or 10 minutes after today's session to hang out here, then I'd thoroughly recommend it. It was awesome having you on board today. Thanks for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you on the mat tomorrow. Have a great day, have a great evening. Thank you very much.